T-minus 46 minutes.
Jeff, I'm on comms on channel 3.
I'm in.
Hello, hello. Who's this?
It's Scott.
Hey, Scott. Glad you're here.
Delay's much less now. I'm at like 26.
Isn't this exciting?
You know, I am hearing an echo.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Oh, I know why. I know why you're hearing an echo. Hold on just a second.
It's not my end.
No.
Okay.
It's really...
I see Gareth's names.
Hey, yeah, hey,
Oh,
do you hear
Tom
me?
left. Yeah, I can hear you, Gareth, but Tom, I think, left.
Can you say that again, Scott? I'll turn you up a little bit.
I'm here. You're here. I can hear you. Tom just joined us again.
Tom's there again. Oh yeah. I always have to restart the computer every time. This is actually the first time in maybe half a dozen times I've done this that I have not had to restart the machine. I'm going to see if my drums are working. I put my sticks in my bag. I'll be right back.
So everyone's present and accounted for.
How about that?
Yep, and I see you. You look very sharp. I can't hear you now, Tom. I don't know why.
It's because I'm not playing.
And your mic's way over there. No drums yet. I can hear you drumming, but only through the headphones, I think.
Yeah, me too. There's
send you the link
something
to the
going on
screen.
here. I've got to figure that out.
Okay.
Scott, can you turn your camera on?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize it wasn't on.
Just go to the little video and click allow.
I was like, I can see you guys. Now you
There
can
we
see
go.
me. Check.
And I just selected an audio out instead of an audio in, so I'm hopeful this will work.
Good morning, Gareth. Ooh, that's not... Okay, that kick is really loud.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't change the volume of the kick. Well, that's not true. I could, but it's
Just the output, if you could.
Mm-hmm. Turn myself down here. What's this?
Why don't you try it again?
Delightful. 1 second.
Yeah, just because
Choose a better.
They're two schools of thought. Should I hear myself locally or should I hear the server?
Server.
Yeah. And I go back and forth, which is tighter. No, there are two signals. There's what I'm generating locally and what they have the server.
Yeah, you sound pretty good, Gareth.
I've been practicing.
I hope at some point that we get video and faders side by side. That's coming. So.
Check.
Burstein, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
What the heck was that?
Whoa, was that you, Gareth?
I sampled some sounds off the NASA website and programmed them into my drum kit because, you know, gotta do something.
Drummer, I love you.
That's awesome. I was like, oh boy. Heyo.
Yeah. Kenzo here's like, what? Oh, what's that? IT's wondering where this sound's coming from.
Is it okay if I just rap?
Yeah. I mean, this is a jam set, right?
I still don't hear you, Tom, at all, your bass.
Sorry?
I don't hear your bass at all.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, me either.
It's nice and loud here. Hold on a second.
Yeah, it's not coming through. Gareth's video froze.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great.
I can
Sounds
hear you.
great here in the room.
Our delay is still only 26, which is great. I hear Gareth.
Here, Gareth, too.
Just his video is now frozen.
I'll turn the video off and then we can see if that does it. It's like I can hear you now, Tom. This is great. This sounds really good.
And just because I can, I'm going to ask Scott, your Wi-Fi is off.
Yeah, I did it. The Wi-Fi's off. I'm all plugged in.
Great. Just making sure.
And I'm not going to mess with anything for the next 40 minutes. I wasn't even sure, like, I assume at some point you're going to tell us, like, what's the format of the presentation?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit.
Okay.
Look at that smile on Gareth this morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to talk a little bit. You'll hear the presentation, or you can watch the my Facebook feed or whatever, however you want. And then we'll, I just want to introduce everything, the idea of tech integration and all this other good stuff and the story of this tech. And then we're going to play. And then I'm going to invite you guys to play, and we'll just jam on something.
Mm-hmm.
Answer questions, and then jam again. And I know, Gareth, you have to leave at 9:45, right?
Well, I'd like to leave at 9:43.
At 43, okay.
My
you
Uber is
got
booked
it.
at 9:45, so yeah.
Okay, he froze again.
Ruh-roh. Maybe the internet's not that good over there at Airbnb.
He might still have his Wi-Fi on. You're nice and solid, Scott.
I'm all Etherneted up.
There he is.
I mean, it sounds good, but I thought we were going to do YYZ. Was that not the plan?
We should have two at least contrasting things. We can do like a little bit, yeah. I'm getting a monitor, gentlemen.
Yeah. No, I'm down to do whatever. You know, we can do a open E rocky bluesy jam, and then we can do some like I don't know flamenco.
What melodies do you like to play?
I don't know any melodies.
Well, like a riff tune or something like a.
I mean, I know lots.
Hendrix thing.
I mean, like name the Hendrix song. I know
like
it.
Voodoo Child. Or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, I mean, totally works. Voodoo Child's great, except that of course it's also just like a basic E jam. But I think it's totally fine. Just
we can go to the 5.
yeah. I mean, I'll follow whatever you do. That's cool with that. And for something contrasting, what contrasting kind of things do you like to do? You know.
It's really up to you, man. You've got the melody potential.
Wait, we're saying I can't hear you, Gareth.
Yeah, your mic is very low.
How about that?
It's very low. The microphone.
If I turn it up a little, is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, ironically, I was going to ask Tom if there's a way you can turn your mic up, because you're super quiet.
I'm super quiet?
Well, I mean, for me,
Oh, I can hear Tom pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm pretty loud in the house.
And Gareth just froze again.
I think we're golden here. Thank you so much. That'd be great. Love it. No, that's great. That's just right. Gareth, can you hear us?
Oh, you're back.
loud and clear, loud and clear.
Do you have your Wi-Fi still on your computer?
I do not. I turned it off when I arrived.
Okay.
Oh, now you're nice and green. Look green now. Do we freeze for you when you freeze for us?
I have no idea. I've not seen you freeze. I have actually. This is the lowest ping and lowest delay numbers I've seen in this since we've used this application. I mean, we're much closer than we normally are. But it's very cool.
Yeah, it's super low. I have 2.
Yeah, exactly. I have 2 and I have like 23 for the delay.
Scary good.
20 and 70 something.
So what like a riff tune, Scott? It's really up to you.
Well, I figure if we're gonna do something kind of heavy and rocky, it might be nice to just do a little bit of funk. Otherwise, you know,
Okay.
Keep it nice and easy.
Is that just like
Yeah.
a funky 12 bar?
Yeah, and we don't have to go on for 20 minutes. I don't want to bore the audience.
I
silly.
was, if we have a singer in the room, I do
Yeah.
have a mic. That might be cool.
Yeah.
Gareth, is there any way we can get a narrower snare? Because you've got a kind of snare today. I mean, I like it. I'm just thinking telematically, it might be better to have something a little narrower.
Let me see.
Or with a bigger point on the end. Scott, what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it might be a little sharper. Maybe do you have like a gunshot one? One that just sounds like you're shooting off a rifle.
Yeah, I can figure something out. Right.
Do you have it sampled so you have like a cat meow for the snare?
I can probably
Meow.
Let me see what I got here.
All right, I'll be back in a second.
The session starts at 9, is that correct?
Yes, we start at 9. That would be great for our dub set.
But threats, new in kind or degree.
Where is it? My favourite sound is this one. That's the TARDIS from Doctor Who.
That was magical. You didn't even move. Your mic is still very quiet. Your drums are great.
Sorry, I turned the mic down so I wouldn't pick up the acoustic sound of me twatting the pads in the
Okay.
room. I've got to remember to turn the gain up when I talk. How do you feel about this kit sound?
Very 80s. I like it.
Yeah, we out here trying to flourish.
That was my daughter gargling 4 years ago.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, and there's that freeze. We have to figure out how often Gareth freezes so we can time all of our stuff to the freeze.
My sound from a minute there. Huh. Am I unfrozen?
Yeah,
Your
your
video's
sound
frozen.
is.
Your video's frozen, but your audio's fine. There is a little meter. Gareth, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
There's a little meter in the video that you can shift between highest quality and best performance.
Okay.
So you might go grainy, but,
But I shaved for this. I don't. You know what I mean?
I understand.
I did not. You're lucky I put on a shirt.
So where am I looking for this?
If you just wiggle your
In the
pointer, a little thing comes up that shows video chat, raise your hand, tiles, and then a little thing that looks like a a speedometer.
Did somebody say speed?
Click on the speedometer, and then it pops a window that says performance settings. And if you pull it down to best performance versus highest quality or somewhere in the middle, that might help.
And what I'm going to do at least what I think I'm smart enough to do is I'll like stop my camera and just like chill while you're talking, so I can run around my house naked. And then when you're ready to go, I'll just be like, oh, here I am. Here's me.
I have slides, so I'll cover you guys with slides. Oh. Oh man, Gareth's leaving the band. We just got the record deal, and should we try it again with the? Did you change the performance settings, Gareth?
Yeah. And also, I mean, this is. I don't know if you're running the session, Tom, but this is stuff we can kind of demonstrate, right? Because the point of the session is to be like discuss the parameters. So I mean, this is any of this stuff that doesn't work is stuff that does work in terms of the presentation.
Sorry, say that last part again.
Any of the stuff that doesn't work is stuff that.
Like that, where
he dropped out.
drops mid. Dude,
Yeah.
freaking
Of the platform.
Airbnb Wi-Fi, some bullshit. Get some money back. We'll just do a little Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Yes.
Should that be what we do? We both have styles to in the dead of night. As we both lie here together with our mouths wide. That's one of our numbers we do in my glam metal cover band. Though I try not to hurt you, though I try, and I guess that's why I say there is just a dark. I hope
Yeah, we out here trying to flourish.
Do we have a... Oh, that's distorted. Do we have a live Facebook feed again, Tom? Are you doing that?
I will have one going at 9.
Amazing.
Put up a camera from the back.
How do we... Can I direct people to that?
Yes, facebook.com/Tom Zlabinger.
I love it.
Wait, you want people to see this?
Yeah.
People to see us suffer, man, you know.
Yeah, well, my mom is busy at 9 o'clock, so there's nobody left that would be interested. Yeah, sure, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, as long as Airbnb stays with us.
Yeah, my goal is to not move my computer for the next 20 minutes to not jinx anything.
Should we just? It's 8:39. Should we just meet back here at 8:55?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Gentlemen,
like a
thank
plan,
you in
yeah.
advance. This is a long time coming, and you're a huge part of it.
I know we're each 1/3 part of it, so the work is equal. We did the equal amount of work on this that you did.
In many ways, you are. Just because back to the whole peopleware thing that I've told Gareth about. Software, hardware, and this other thing that people don't talk about much, peopleware. Thank you for being the peopleware.
I mean, me and Scott are a couple of arseholes as well, so you could have done so much
Well,
better.
you can't
Tom.
have a
Thank
person
you.
without an asshole. So.
All right, I'm going to try to eat a little bit of breakfast if I can get
Okay.
some down in 15 minutes. We'll see about that.
All right, I'll be here.
See you in a little bit.
Thanks,
you,
Tom.
gentlemen.
Every rose has its thorn. Do blah blah blah.
I've got you guys on mute on this end.
How about if I mute myself? Do you hear me now?
Adrian, right? Adrian? Aiden. How's it spelled, Aiden? So with an A. You and me both. Yeah. That's cool, man. There's a lot of moving parts. Yeah. I'm going to do a Facebook stream from here. That's terrific. Good. Is this just the first time it's been set? No. It's, well, yes and no. There's a lot of iterations of this. Sure. I've talked about this, but this is the first time I've done it at a national conference with 2 other people. I did it in New York City at a smaller conference, and I've got someone at his Airbnb. I mean, they're both conference attendees, so. Okay, thank you so much, Aiden. Hello, hello.
Hey, hey. What's up?
Even though it's delayed. All right. USCIT is wonderful. Thank you, Kenzo and crew. So we are streaming. There's Gareth. I don't know if he's listening. That's the thing with this stuff. Well, you know, the different audio.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm hearing every word you're saying. You better not say anything rude about me.
Gareth, are you connected?
Yes, I am.
Who are you, Gareth? Yeah. You can hear me okay? All right. You sound great out here.
Got you loud and clear. Oh, really?
Yes.
That's cool. What room are we in, by the way? Oh, it's
We're in
101.
101.
Okay.
Where we played with Christian yesterday.
Less terrifying than the Orwellian 101.
Ruth is already here.
Of course she is. Ruth is a legend.
We're told that people are coming. Josh is here too. Here's Jack Trip Experience.
The entire time you're talking, can I just make weird, trippy?
Telematic music, baby. I'm going to start the Facebook stream.
I've lost Tom's video. Am I the only one who can't see Tom?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. I can see him. I'm going to go off video until we're needed, so I don't sit here for 45 minutes looking as dumb as I look.
But everyone's happy?
With this or in life?
This first and live second, I guess?
Yes and yes.
Okay. I'll have you guys muted. The Facebook stream should be live. Let me just check it.
Okay, I'm going off camera
All right.
and putting down my guitar so I don't
Okay.
twiddle
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah, there we are. This is a little wormholey, but I'll put it away. All right. I'll mute the band and myself, and I'll keep my channel open because they want to. All right. What time we got? Ooh, it's just 9. I'm going to give folks a 2-minute courtesy. The host is here. I'll put the slides up even. How's that? Yeah, I can. Yeah, I know. It's the last day of the conference, and that's okay. Yes. Sure. No, I get it. I'd rather people hear it than not hear it. Interwebs, we will be with you in 4 or 5 minutes. Thank you so very much for being here this morning at 9 a.m. on the third day of this amazing conference. I want to thank everyone who made this conference possible. This feels like home to me. It's my 4th year here. Chicago changed my life 3 years ago, but this is not about how cool APME is. It's cool, and thank you. So I'm Dr. Tom Zlabinger, and I've been doing televatic music since the fall of 2020, and it's also changed my life. And today I'm going to do a live demonstration with folks you know, Gareth, Dylan Smith on drums, and Scott Burstein on guitar. They're at home. Gareth is at his B&B, and Scott's at home on Long Beach. But let me give you a couple of things to sort of ground all of this in my thinking and in my goals, et cetera, and then we'll just get to playing. So, who am I? I know many of you in the room know who I am, but I always like to start with this. Why do I get the opportunity to talk to people? I'm an electric and upright bass player, sometimes singer and guitar player. I have a master's in jazz performance, and I am an ethnomusicologist by training. I've been teaching at York College for 21 years now, mostly popular music, starting with jazz and switching over to just strictly pop rock and hip-hop and everything around it. I'm also an entrepreneur. I founded a company called Telematic Studios in 2021, and this is a big part of that. And I'm also a self-described tech integrationist, and more on that. What are we doing today? This is the abstract from the program. You've all read this. I won't be that teacher that reads you things. But we're going to do a demonstration with folks across LA, and then I would love to have plenty of time for questions. All right, so what is tech integration? Tech it's not an event. I love these two little things I found. It should be an everyday part of our classroom, like crayons and breathing and everything in between. Tech is not. I like at the bottom of this. Tech is a tool, not a learning outcome, and it should be something that helps us, doesn't hinder us. It should be transparent. It should be part of us and integrated with what we do. Nearly all music making involves tech, unless it's a cappella voices in the wild. Music making includes technology, and I know I have drummers in the room and guitarists in the room, and this idea of one music being more technical than the other is bogus to me. 4,000 years ago, someone somewhere made a bone flute, and so from that point forward, and maybe even earlier, tech has been in music in my mind. It also, very important, integration of tech and music making and all that is not just a tech challenge or problem, it's also a people issue. So 5 dimensions of tech integration, just to put it in your mind: content integration, knowledge construction, equity pedagogy, prejudice reduction, empowering social culture. This is all stuff we like, right? That the content is integrated in the way it's disseminated is not an obstruction. It's creating knowledge. It's greater equity across the board, right? More access, more inclusion. Prejudice reduction, that we were looking things at face value, and empowering social structure in multiple ways, but mostly this is an agent of change and support and all those good things. Jeff Herb has written a little bit on this online. I haven't found nearly enough about tech integration. It's new to me as of 6 months ago, but I feel more and more that we should keep tech closer to us and not sort of put it in the silos of this is a musician and this is music production and this is audio. No, look at all these tools we're using here very well. And especially in popular music. You all know this. I need to tell you that. So you all know hardware, right? The machine. You all know software. That's the programming. There's a third thing that was developed by Peter Newman in the 70s called peopleware. And this is something I've firmly banged my head against with telematic music performance. That we get the tech together, that's the hardware and the software. But the third component are humans, right? People design these things and use these things. And so if we have a sort of a completion of the picture, right, the machine, the software on it, and the people that are using it, you kind of can sort of diagnose things. It's not enough to have the tech. It's not enough to have the software. You also have people. This is more about tech integration, right? This is more about getting people to use machines well and augmenting what we're doing. I'm not a big fan of virtual reality, but I'm a huge fan of augmented reality and anything that can amplify our signals to make more music and hence connect us to others. So, 2020, you remember the before times. This is a selfie of the band on March 11th, 2020. It was a Wednesday night. We all thought we were just going to go away for 2 weeks and come back. It was an early spring break. You know what happened. But we were in the middle of doing a Beatles tribute for the 50th anniversary of the rooftop concert. And as all of us did in that spring, we struggled with substitutes for ensemble direction. We tried to do things remotely with multi-track sessions, and that was incredibly painful, and some people still have PTSD from that. And then what we did is we did a YouTube playlist, kind of a karaoke version of what the concert we would have had done, and it was a challenge because there were copyright issues. The Beatles publishing company tore this stuff down, and it was not fun. But shortly after this, I'd like to call them the telematic angels arrived in my life, fall 2020. Nick Porcaro, who does this really cool thing called GeoShred. It's a tablet instrument. Some of you may know it. It's a lot of fun. I had done a gig with him and Lucas Ligeti, the son of the famous composer, maybe 15 years ago before that. And I did a blast that I was doing jam sessions kind of sort of in Zoom. And he said, hey, have you ever done telematic music? That put me in touch with Chris Chafe, who's at Stanford at Karma, the Center for Computer Research in Music and Acoustics. That changed my life because I was able to audit his class that fall because my band was canceled that fall because everyone thought, you can't do this, we'll be back in the spring and all that. But thanks to Chris's, he's sort of one of the elders of telematic performance as part of Jack Trip, as you well know. And he put me in touch with Sarah Weaver, who's based in New York, who runs the Now Not Arts website and ensemble and conference. And I played in her band online for about a year. And I got well-versed in Jack Trip. and the telematic community. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. It led to Telematic Joy. So from March 2020 to May 2021, we did our first online concert. I called it 2021, a Telematic Odyssey. My students didn't get the reference right away. I had to explain it to them. But there we are. That's our end of concert snapshot of us in our remote locations. There's me at the bottom. The drummers don't have a red backdrop because their drums would disappear. And there's our audio engineer, Jared Radcliffe, and videographer who made it all possible. And we stayed online for another year. So we did it for 3 semesters. We performed 3 semesters of rehearsals and gave our performances all online, and subsequently now have a telematic ensemble at York College where I teach. So how did we succeed where others failed? Because everyone wanted to do this, and I felt weird that I figured out how to do it, and there were only a handful of us who did. And keep this in mind, I wanted to do quote-unquote pocket music, quote-unquote groove music, and not all telematic platforms can do that well. And I finally found something that could. And let me describe what it was and the big difference. It's what's called a hub model. If you look at this diagram up here on the left, we have 8 people who are playing with each other online, and every person has to be connected to the other 7 people and has to go back and forth. But if we go to a spoken hub model where all the information goes to the hub and comes back out of the hub, we have much fewer connections, right? With 8 people with a peer-to-peer model, we have 28, right, connections. And so as opposed to 8 people and 8 connections. And that, in addition to compressed audio, which I had no problem with because the groove was much more important. I'm a bass player. I love groove. And the music I want to do and my students want to do, popular music, we needed to be able to groove, so the latency had to be teeny tiny. So those are the 2 things, the hub model versus the peer-to-peer model, and that we used compressed audio, which was less data traffic. Regarding telematic gear, you need an Ethernet cable, and I want to thank USC, and Kenzo's here. Thank you, Kenzo, for hooking me up and allowing me onto their Ethernet, or their wired network, rather. And then you need something like an audio interface or a USB mic, depending on your situation, if you're a guitar player or a singer. And then you also need headphones, especially if you're at home just using your computer and you're not using a sound system like this. I can get away without using headphones because you don't get any feedback. But if you're at home staring at your computer with your mic in front of it and you're making music, you can get feedback and echoes and things like that. So you will see Gareth, and Scott with earphones at home. But that's about $130. You can spend more, of course. But the biggest challenge has always been the $15 Ethernet cable. When I was in an apartment during the pandemic, we had a 50-foot cable going out of the kids' room across the living room into, and this was common for those of us who were doing this. And that's unfortunately, unless your router is right there by your desk, you're going to see these Ethernet cables going across your living rooms like I did. There it is. There's my Ethernet, actually my router sitting on top of my electrical box in our unfinished basement, and then a Ethernet cable going around to this workstation I have. It's just a card table with a mic. There's my bass, my computer, my headphones, my audio interface, much like what I'm doing right here. Any quick questions about this? I know I'm going through this quickly because I just want to get to playing and also have a deadline. And we can open up for questions later. But everyone's with me? All right. I know in 2024 this stuff is much more familiar than it was in 2020. And especially among pop folks, I know a lot of you use this stuff already. So, another telematic angel. His name is Dan Garton. He is the founder of Chord. Chord is an offshoot of Jamulus, which you may have heard of during the pandemic. He and I have been working together. In fact, I emailed him this morning, and this is the platform I'm using. It's called Chord, KOORD.live is the web address. It's available on Macs and all Windows machines, and it's small, and it's stable, and it's wonderful, and thank you, Dan. And so these are just little snapshots of what I'll show you in a moment. On the left is the app itself. I know it's tiny, and then when you use it, and I'll show you this live in a moment, it's a mixer, and we have integrated video, which is brand new. Okay, telematic pain. I alluded to some of this. what are the limits of telematic performance? It's the 150-mile limit due to the speed of light. Now, you can get away with past 150 miles if you have good connections, but just sort of a rule of thumb that if you wanted things to sync for groove music, and that's a lot. That's I mean, in New York City, that's a lot of people. That's Long Island. That's Connecticut. That's Woodstock. It's New Jersey. It's great. Getting used to playing in 2D takes a minute. Playing with a two-dimensional version of your friend instead of having 360 movement and seeing them in spatial. But you get to it. It's just another venue. Getting used to playing with headphones. If you have experience in a recording studio, it's not a thing, but some people don't. Background noise, air conditioners, dogs barking, fire engines, all that kind of stuff are going to creep into your playing if there's a microphone there. And with my students, 16 of them in an urban environment, it was a big issue. Also, having parents or siblings watch Netflix during rehearsal, I'd ask them not to do that to burn up bandwidth. Managing signal chains and audio quality. This is just making sure the sound is good into your machine and back to you from other places. That's a challenge. It's a little easier. Actually, it's a lot easier on a Mac than it is a Windows machine. But I think we probably have a majority of Mac users in here just because that's the case. But I did have a handful of Windows users, and that's where most of my telematic pain came from. Overcoming micro latency, even though it's really tight, you just kind of have to get used to it. It's kind of like playing in an echoey room or a large concert hall. You just sort of adjust and you just lock in over time. Like anything we do as musicians, you just have to practice it. And etiquette. It's a party call. It's like a conference call. You all can't talk at once. That was the big thing I noticed coming back to campus after doing telematic stuff for a year and a half. It was so nice that my students could have side conversations again, and I could have side conversations with them. So you just get used to this. And so, after doing this for several years, this is what I've come up with and what you need to think about when you're doing telematic performance. So, are you ready to see this stuff work? Making an offering to the tech gods. So you all know Scott, you all know Gareth. So let me summon them. Let's see. I hope they're listening. Let's unmute them. Hey Gareth. Hey Scott.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
Good morning. Doing well.
All right. We've got maybe a dozen people here, all folks you know. Should we just play that E Voodoo Child groove a little bit?
Yeah,
and
sure.
then talk about it? I'm plugged into this audio interface. They're plugged into interfaces where they are. Gareth is using electric drums. Is there anything else we want to say before we launch into it?
E is one of the hardest keys for drummers.
We are streaming in YouTube. Let me pull that up over here. It's a delay, of course, but the reason you see the KR and the KS is the chord recorder and chord streaming. I think we're going to get to the point where we won't need to see those, but I'm working with the developer. I feel very blessed, and it's so many moving parts. But I'll quit talking. All right. Please don't tell me Gareth froze.
No, you think he's setting up a...
I know he did. He's
maybe he is
himself.
frozen. All right, not bad. He's timing his freezing before we start playing.
That'd be great. Okay, we can hear him. Let's play. He might look, okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hell yeah. Yeah. Questions. We have a chunk of time before we lose Gareth, so. I'm used to it because I've been doing it for 3 years, but Scott's been doing it since 2 days ago. Scott, that would be great if you could answer that question.
I could, but I can't hear any of the questions. We can hear you.
Virginia asked, sorry about that.
Hi, Virginia.
What was it like adjusting to the micro latency since you're the newest guy in the band?
Well, when we tried it, when we first set it up, it was not good because Tom was in New York and I was here, and we used like a server in Chicago or something like that, and it was tricky. And then yesterday we did it, and it was decent but not great. And then it turns out I forgot to plug in my Ethernet cable. So this morning was the first time I did it with the setup correctly, and it's like we're in the same room. Like, I don't notice at all. It helps that my sense of time is not great anyways, though, so.
For me, Tom and I have done this a couple of times. I've been in Pennsylvania with Tom in Westchester, which I think is a distance of about 80 to 90 miles or so.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been fine. The micro latency, like, it is like playing in a large concert hall, actually. Like, it's weird, but as long as I concentrate, it's fine. But this morning, because we're all in LA, this is the best it's been for me. I think the delay, there's a metric you can see in the interface, and it's showing the delay as less than half what it usually is, and it just feels normal.
That's the ping time down here. Under 30 is great, and we have 2 and 7 and 3, and so under 30 is very good. Under 60 is okay, but this is the mixer here. Those are milliseconds. So we all have our own mix, right? I can turn Gareth and Scott up and down, which is great, and they can turn me and each other up and down. So that's one of the great advantages. I should put that on my list of advantages, that we all can have our own headphone mix. But this I've never ever played with this little ping time. 15, 20, and I have Verizon at home. But Kenzo, are we on a backbone here? So that helps. That greatly helps.
I mean, and I know in a lot of places it's like, well, big deal. It's 10 miles away. I might as well just drive. In Los Angeles, that is an hour and a half. So this is way better. Yeah,
in urban environments like LA and New York, this is a time saver. And the reason I founded the company 3 years ago is because I'm hoping to just push this out there, because I can see the potential not only for education but social stuff. Hey, you want to play tonight? I've got an hour. I mean, how cool would that be? And most of us have studios at home. We can just jump on and play. That's what Gareth and I have been doing for almost a year now, which is great because I don't get to see Gareth otherwise, and we get to play. So you're saying when you guys play and you're in Westchester, yeah, I would say, Gareth, the numbers for you in Pennsylvania when we play, it's what, 15, 20 for me. Is it the same for you?
Gareth froze again.
Well, it depends on the quality of the internet. I don't, he's in an Airbnb. Who knows how many people are on that connection?
There's only me, actually. We have one Ethernet port, and I'm using it. I just as you were asking me what the delay was, you froze or I froze. So that's perfect.
Yeah, the internet has a sense of humor. Anyway, when you're in Pennsylvania, what is the ping time for you?
I'm trying to think. I think it's usually around 50 milliseconds. Mm-hmm. But it fluctuates. I mean, it fluctuates in real time a lot. We'll be locked in on a groove, and suddenly I'll hear the bass or the guitar and just kind of drift, and that's when I just have to kind of because you talked about we drift in and out of each other, and that's a new experience, is to not trying to ignore the other musicians, but trust that they'll come back in time when the internet realigns us. Yeah. So that it's the kind of inconsistency that's kind of been the hardest thing to get used to, or not. It's not the hardest. The kind of the most, I guess, the most challenging, but it's fun as well. It's not annoying. It's just it's a musical challenge.
And if the drummer is what I call alpha, just lays down the time, and it's non-negotiable, and then the band weaves around you a little bit if you're just speaking truth, and that's what a drummer should do anyway.
Well, that's kind of counterintuitive to me, because as a drummer, what I tend to do is, if the guitar players are slowing down, I want to follow them, because
Yeah.
I want to play at the speed that is more helpful for their picking pattern.
Sure.
Or the vocal. So I'm not used to being like, no, this is the tempo. So that's a difference actually, is to be like, just lay it down and trust the internet to take care of it.
What about today? Do you feel like you have to be alpha?
There was one moment in the song, or in the groove we did earlier, where I could feel that you two had drifted away from me. So, but very mostly no. It just feels like we're
Cool.
playing in a room together actually.
Yeah, and the tech is just going to get stronger. Yes. Aiden's asking if we mic'd up a drum set with 8 microphones into one interface, would that increase latency? No. That's all. It's everything before the interface. Whether it's one singer or an orchestra, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, the reason I've switched to using electronic drums. Tom and I tried this first with me using acoustic drums, and the only reason I'm using electronic ones is because I can have a vocal mic and an electronic drum kit going into the 2 inputs I have in my audio interface. It was just that there was more room noise, and it was just a less comfortable audio experience when I used acoustic drums. So it's just a control issue. And for flying to an Airbnb across the other side of the country, I couldn't pack an acoustic kit in a suitcase.
Yeah. And Gareth is wonderfully open to playing electric drums. Not every drummer is. And this is our first road gig, Gareth. This is awesome. And thank you, Scott, for being here. And willing. I mean, we'll put this all together this week with Scott, so with the tech and everything.
Yeah, he was like, "Do you have an Ethernet cable?" And I'm like, "What's an Ethernet cable? Is it? Do I need dial-up modem too?"
Other questions? Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're actually if there are actually 4 performances going on, right? There are 3 local performances and then the server, right? And you could capture all 4 things. I don't know if you want to, but you're absolutely right. With something with the latency this tight, it's not that big difference. But when people use, say, Jack Trip and it's full resolution audio, I've heard from those folks who do what's called latency resistance music, right? More ambient things or more experimental, where you don't really need things to line up, like in Hendrix. They've talked to me that they've looked at the different performances and they can see differences with things lining up differently and different reactions and things like that. There are a lot of people who are very interested in the aesthetics of that, and that's cool. And there's a multiplicity to telematic performance, what people want to do with it. I don't know many people who want to just play popular music, even though that's sort of this goal for for Jack Trip and Lutefish and there are all these products out there now that are not being adopted, and some of them you have to buy expensive hardware, like the Lutefish. You need a $250 box that doesn't do anything but Lutefish, and there's Elk, and which also I think they got rid of their box, which was wise. But this is all most musically production savvy, whatever the term you want to use, people who are doing stuff with their computer have all this stuff. They just need to buy the $15 Ethernet cable.
Chord for me has been a real game changer, because I remember it was 2016. I was in London and we went to use Lola, which is a hard what's it called? Like, it's a hardware system, and it was between a conservatory in Scotland and one in London, and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, to install, and we had a team of 4 technicians to run it, and it was a day's work just to set the thing up, Whereas this, I walk into my office, plug in the Ethernet cable, and it's in real, and this is no worse. This is actually a more comfortable audio experience than that was. So it's a remarkable change.
And it gets back to the idea of tech integration. These are tools we can use at home. We don't have to go to these fancy setups to play from Scotland to London, right? We can do this from home, which I think is a real game changer. I know we lose Gareth in 15 minutes. Are there other questions, or should we just... Yes, Christian. I'm sorry. Instead of, let's say we have 4 people, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all sending information to each other. The 4 people are sending stuff to the hub, and the hub spits it out. So they're different lines, different connections, less connections. That's just the architecture of the software. So let's say if I was playing with 3 other people, it spits it out 3 times versus 1 time. Yeah, I don't have to send it to Virginia and to Dan and to Ruth. I send it to the hub in the center, and that sends it to them. So then the 4 of us are sending 4 connections to the hub and 4 connections out instead of 3, 3, 3, and 3. Right? That's less data, and that's the big issue. And then the compressed audio.
What's the max that people can use it?
75
Humans?
Yeah, 75 humans. Yeah,
Oh.
75, and yeah, you could have 70. Also, it doesn't need to be one person. It's 75 signals, so you could have 75 times 3 people if they were all trios, right? You could have 1 choir in one room, 1 choir in another room, and a rhythm section in 3 or 4 different places. Yeah, Christian. Ping is just a technical, and Kenzo could probably say a whole lot more about this. It's just the time it takes for a signal to go to the server and come back. And it's a delay. It's just the tech version of delay. This is roundabout. This is back and forth. Ping is to the server and then coming back and forth. I don't know why it's not always double. Let me get a better explanation for you on that, Christian. 2 milliseconds. Yeah. 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 Of course. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's that fine line between chill and wrong. Yes. Yeah. And that's what messes people up sometimes. That's why under 30 is so nice. Yeah. That's LA, thank you. That's USC, thank you. That's I have 1015 at home with Verizon. And that's really... Yes, exactly. Or not care about, right? Endure. Yeah.
I need to catch an Uber to campus in
okay,
a handful of minutes,
let's play
so
real quick, and then I'll let people go.
let's rock!
Okay. Shall we do that 12-bar funky thing in D?
Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott and Gareth playing from their abodes, wherever they are. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this.
Thank you for having us, Tom. I'll be see you on campus shortly.
This is
Thanks,
super
Scott.
fun.
That was
I like how
fun.
there's a question about the teddy bear. There's a teddy bear?
That came free with the Airbnb.
We have some more time to discuss this. Yes. Oh, cool. Hi, Zoom, folks. I wouldn't say it's that fierce, being bilingual myself. It's more like playing in a club versus playing in a church, and maybe not even that extreme. It's just a different venue, and you get used to it. It's just it's this room, like you guys sound checked in here, and then I'm sure it sounded different at Songwriters, right? It's kind of like that, and you get used to it. And the nice thing, it's kind of constant, right? Every time you return to it, it's not as variable as, say, these two places that Ruth and everybody played in yesterday. And I don't know if you heard any crackle. That's internet traffic. There's a little sort of warble that happens every night. We was pretty clean today thanks to this connection, but if you just kind of barrel through that warble and the time going back and forth, if you're not a rhythm section player, you really don't care. It's us guitar players, bass players, and drummers who really care. A cappella music is great on this stuff. Experimental music is great on this stuff, but pocket music was the real barrier for me. And we figured it out, and it's getting better. It's so much better now than it was in 2021. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. Once you get playing, you just don't look. You can't, because there is a little delay with the visual, and I forgot to do the there's sort of this induction to the telematic tribe where we all clap to make sure that it's in sync, and you have to do it out of shot. You have to do it like this, otherwise people start looking at each other and it starts slowing down. So I forgot to do that with Scott to invite him to the tribe, but if any of you want to do this and you're in the New York area, or if you have two people in your area, I would happily jump online and get you synced up. We would have done this clapping to make sure, and it feels real. It's like, oh, this is strange, and then it locks up, right? You get used to it. I think the potential for this technology is astronomical, as far as people who want to save time in like places like ALA, people who don't want to move their gear. That's actually one of my last slides for you. Let me get where to go. Why telematic performance? 3 things. It creates space, a new place to play. You don't have to rent a practice room. You don't have to go to someone's garage. 2, full inclusion. I've had some musicians come to a rehearsal and they don't bring all their pedals, or they don't bring all their synthesizers. They have everything plugged in at home, right? You can grab your other instrument. It's right there. And 3, greater access. I mean, it's like kids. Who wants to come out to play, right? You don't have to, I don't have time, or I don't have the gear, or I don't have the space. It's all plugged in. It's ready to go. And I think that's a game changer. It's the use cases that I can dream up of everything from doing auditions for a music program to training up a sub to, education to, your brains are going there too now, I hope. All the things that a music school provides, which is wonderful, a stage like this, and can't forget people like Kenzo that help us make this stuff work. But how much can we do at home now that these tools are so inexpensive and durable that you don't have to go to a place like, the Lola situation Gareth was talking about? That's expensive stuff. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is $130, and you probably have it already. And gamers, they already have these Ethernet cables, right? Because they're worried about those microseconds and their shoot 'em ups. I get it. So I would love to help, anyone who's interested. Are there any more questions, or is that lull in the room? Yes. What do you mean subscription? Oh, yeah. It's just number of users. Up to 4 people, it's free. So what we did today is free. And then there are 2 more tiers of a monthly subscription. I think it's up to 12 and up to 75, if I remember correctly. So, you know, how many people are playing? I don't know how long it'll be freemium. Dan wants to get more people to use it. And, you know, I have a free, I mean, he gave me access to the 75, and I just put it on 75 because that's the most bandwidth, but I don't need it. I could be fine with 4. Yeah, Dan? Oh, okay.
No, just to review. So, if someone like we go back east and I wanted to do this with you, I would just need an Ethernet connection, an interface, and the software, and that's it.
Yep. Where's this? Yeah, Ethernet cable, some way to get the music into your machine, and headphones. You can use an emulator. You can use an emulator if you want. I don't recommend it because it puts more load on your machine. Or use a second machine, or use a stomp box. You want to leave the load on the machine as little as possible. I've had students do it, and it causes more problems than it solves. There is going to be a Chord plugin coming soon for people who really, really want to do that. But if you have stomp boxes and an emulator at home, just put it in your signal chain and boom. I mean, that's all I'm doing. I just plug my bass straight in. Yeah, I mean, there's no bass amp, there's no amp emulation here. It's just straight on in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want to say a couple more things. I want to say thank you to APME. These are all the angels I met along the way. As I mentioned, Chris Chafe, Dan. Jim Moy, who teaches here at Santa Barbara, I got to know, and he answered a bunch of questions for me, and I finally got to meet him in person at NAMM. It was awesome. Neil Murgai is a very interesting guy that plays with a sitar with the Brooklyn Raga Massive. He was the first person I actually jammed with online, and it clicked, and the hairs stood up on my arms. Mike O'Connor's out in Wisconsin. He's a big deal in the Jack Trip world, which is the software that the folks use at Stanford. Nick Porcaro, who does GeoShred. Jared Radcliffe, who helped us host the concerts for 3 semesters. And Sarah Weaver, who does the NowNets stuff, the journal, conference, ensemble. And you, thank you for spending your morning here. Please help me build telematic spaces for people. I really want to flip that on its head. This is for people. Even though there's a lot of machines and moving parts, I thought we made some serious music. I've never played with those guys before. I've played a lot with Gareth. I maybe have jammed at the summit with Scott, but the 3 of us played for the first time this morning. And that is just, it was fun. I can add it to my bank of experiences, right? Contact me anytime. There's my email at my tom@telematicstudios.com. And I would just love to stay in touch with you. Yeah. Yes, thank you. It worked. All right. Let's see if this. Yes.